we're going to start off with SPY. So as we saw, this buy side liquidity was ran. We came up, we tested our 200 SMA, and then we rejected, gap down, come up, fall through. So what am I looking to happen? Well, this drop from Jackson Hole was pretty crazy, left behind some imbalances on the smaller time frame. But what I would like to see is a push back up to the 412.80 range, and then an optimal short entry would be right here at the 414 level. Our downside targets for here would be to target this level here, 396.24, and then we would look to see if this swing low could hold. This is the 389.77 range. We're kind of caught between a bullish shift in structure on a larger time scale, right? Since we ran these highs, but on the smaller time frame fractal, we have broken down through these lows. So we'd look to see for this level to hold here, and the low here was the 389.95. All right, now if you recall a few weeks ago when I did the last one, this is what we were looking for, was a break here and a run into this. On ES, right here, this teal line, this was our optimal short entry. So we called this in real time, came down, we were targeting this imbalance first. So next one will be here and then here. Now for this to be bullish again, we would look for this to hold, this level here, and then we would push back up and run any buy side liquidity. But right now we're going to target these sell stops, right? And the trend will be our friend until it ends. So as far as levels, just on a smaller scale, that's what we're looking for. And then for upside targets is going to be hold 405.32, target 412.80, then into 422.26, right? Which would be this gap fill here. So for GameStop, we're losing the yearly point of control, right, which is 32.07. We're trading below that. Our next price target would be 26.24, which would mitigate this imbalance here. So we're looking for about 50% retracement into this candle, but if it's going to break down these, it'll come down and test these, and you want to make sure that this low holds here, which is going to be 21.68. But right now the price target is 26.24, so we'd look for 30.60 is a downside target. If that can't hold, 26.24 is what we're targeting. For a break, we'd be looking for, I would like to see 32.66. So if we break above this 15-minute point of control, then we'd be targeting 36.06. We got an imbalance here at 37.02. Then we would target the point of control on the hourly, which would be 39.37. That would put us back above our yearly point of control, and then we would be targeting our upper value area of 47.97. I personally lean more to the downside right now. The 26.24 would be the price target. Bed Bath & Beyond, we are looking for this chart. This chart's going to be a hard one. All right. So we were loading this at $5 and $6. This 20 bagged about 1,800%. So what would I like to see? Well, if I want to remain bullish, I need 10.08 to continue to hold. I'm looking for a break of 10.92, and then I'd be targeting this gap fill right here of 18.52, right? So we fill out this imbalance, and then upper value area of 21.40. Now, because this was all momentum based on Ryan Cohen, and then he did come out and sell, I do not know, or rather, I do not find it probable that we return back to this 22 level again. So really, to make a play on this to go long again, you would want to at least just target the gap fill. So you're looking for a 12.68 into a 18.52 price target. So that's what you'd be targeting for this play. Tech. So Tech just rejected the upper value area, but it is above the 200 SMA. You'd like to see it break above 37.51, and then you would be targeting the high of 45.90. Now, in order for that to happen, it needs to break 36.57, 37.69, right? And then you'd be targeting that. Now for downside move, you want to see if the 200 SMA can hold. That's at 34.23. So this point of control here at 34.43, then 34.23, then 30.57. Okay, so this will be targets on a bearish move, ultimately back down to 27.32, which would be point of control. That would backtest that breakout. I think to ideally load long, we would target the imbalance of this candle. So we would look for it to lose this, lose the 200 SMA, wick down into this August 5th candle, and then proceed back up. For AR, well, we're resting right at point of control on the 15, which is 42.17. So if we lose that, you'd be targeting 41.08, right? Then we have a lot of supply here at 40.26, so you'd look to see if this could hold. If not, you're going to be targeting 37.73. The yearly point of control is 20.43, but as you can see, the 200 SMA has shown as a good support. When price does come reach down to it, it does bounce. So 28.94 would be your first loading zone, which would actually would be right here with this daily candle on July 6th. So we look to make sure that this level does not give out, right? And if it does, then you'd be targeting 20.43. IRNT. So this is consolidating and it's actually compressing pretty hard. We were looking at this. We did load longs on this November 2.5 calls. So what I'd like to see is 208 needs to continue to hold. Okay, if 208 continues to hold and we do not lose the 205, our targets will be 235, 248, 273. And then above 273, it gets a little crazy because we have this imbalance up here, about $8.76. So point of control is 461. That's a 2x, and that's what the play is, right? Is shares or the 2.5 call. We're looking for 461, and then some additional short covering will give us a run into this 876. The overhead supply really is at the $13 range. So there's a lot of upside right here, and then our 52-week low right here, we're at $1.99. So good risk reward on this name. So for forward, let me get rid of these levels. We are looking at, well, we lost our point of control at the very end of the week, right? So what I need to see is 1533 hold. And if 1533 can hold, then I'm going to target this 1953 range, right? We have that's our next major area of overhead supply. We do have an imbalance here at 1874. On a bear thesis, well, since we already lost the 1550, we need to hold, or 1533 would be our next price target down, then 1515. If we lose the 1515, we're going to target 1335 and then this area here. So if we can work our way down through all of this supply, then you would be targeting the breakthrough to here into challenging the 1061 range, which would be the 52-week low. So AMD reclaimed the yearly point of control for a brief second, rejected, came back up, rejected it again, and then, we saw what happened on Friday. Friday was a bad move on a lot of names, as far as looking at a chart and imagining it being bullish. The power behind that selling was pretty substantial. So what would I be looking for? Well, as it stands, if we can get continuation down, 83.46 would be our next price target. And then we would be looking at 71.60, which would be that 52-week low. If we can reclaim, let's just start small. If we can reclaim this lower value area on the smaller time frame, which would be 91.29, we'd be targeting 93.12, 94.56, okay, which puts us in this fair value gap here. All right. So this would be your optimal entry to go short if you are bearish and believe it's going to break down. All right. And that would be a rejection of the lower value area. right? 95.51. So instead of front running that, I would look to see if it can reclaim 95.10. All right. If it reclaims 95.10, then it's more probable that these buy stops get ran here, and then we target overhead liquidity at 164. So if you were going to go short, the second you reach into the 94.50, you could short. With then your stop loss would be above the 95.10. Bull thesis would be to break down, find the support here at 83.46, and then target the 102.26. Microsoft rejected the 200 SMA, dropped down a little bit, gap down actually, and then this powerful selling. Now the selling, just like most of these charts, it left us right near the imbalance of the original run into the breakout. So, the power behind the selling makes me think that it's not a bear trap, but I could see this setting up to be one when I look at these charts, because the breakout was pretty powerful. You test the 200 SMA, you reject down. Now, where will this find support? Because that will be telling. If we break all these relative equal lows, then yeah, it was a bull trap. But what as powerful as that selling was, there was a lot of shorts piling on to these names. If we smack a decent level and then further the breakout, we could be in for a little bit of a run. Now, September is generally a red month, so we got to keep that in mind. But what I'd be looking for is pretty much just this level to hold. I need 263.29 to hold, and then I need 256.88 to hold, and then this low here, which will be 249.57, right? So that's kind of rangy. What I need to happen for this to go bullish is I need 256.88 to hold and test it at least twice, right? So if we can hit down here, hold, then my next targets up will be right where it started breaking down. So it would be the 200 SMA, which would be 292.10, and then 366. Meta's just consolidating in a kind of snaking. So what I'd like to see happen is I need 161.21 to hold, then 158.43 to hold, and then 152.02. Those would be my price targets if bearish. If bullish, if it holds that level, I'm looking for 163.73, 168.05, and then I need to run all of these buy stops here into this gap fill. So first stab at a long would be, well, I mean, you could try and snipe the bottom, right? So if these levels do hold, you can add there with your stop at those levels. But what I'd ideally be looking for is 165 to be taken out. Then we run the buy stops at 204 and 226 up to 231.03. And then if we can make our way into the gap fill, right, which seems like a far-fetched idea, but that's where the majority of your move will be. Oxy rejected the upper value area. We'll be looking for it to return down into this candle that happened on August 19th, and we look for this to hold. If not, right, because you can see that we have an imbalance here as well as here, which is that 66.80 range, which I like that level. I like trading down back into here and then a bounce back up. But if it continues down, our price targets down would be the 63.66, 58.17, and then 200 SMA at 50.81. Square. So I took a long in Square, and then we had all this selling. When I took a 80 call, we were at about, where did I take that at? I think I took that at 71. Yeah, where this line is. So I added it on this day. I think I added it right around here. So we have a large dark pool that took place at, let me find this level here for us. It was 61.35. Huge dark pool at 61.35. So what I would like to see is for price Oh man, if price needs to stay above 56.01, and I know that's kind of far away, but Square has some range to it. So if price remains above 56.01, our price targets would then be to mitigate this candle here, which is going to be 71.50 to $72. Then 72.63 into 74.48 into 78.09, and then back into 87.98. Once we're back above 85.17, that's when things really can start ramping and we can run buy side liquidity. We'd be targeting the 200 SMA at 115.54 and then 137.58. Ideally, for Square, you would run these highs, right? So you'd break above this little internal range liquidity, break through that, run these highs, and then you could begin to look at some longs entering as far as an equity goes. Killer move on Snow. Okay. So, man, I remember I had some wow. I had some 120 calls on Snow that I sold early. They didn't expire until like the 16th. I wonder what they're at right now. Wow. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, so I missed this gap up here, but what we're looking for. So, obviously, I'm not going to say to buy after this large of a gap up. It was strong, even though the market was super weak. So this relative strength is really nice to see. Um, Obviously, what we're targeting now is a gap fill back down. But in order for that to take place, what I need to have happen is I need Snow to lose 187.49, and then I would begin targeting this low of this candle here, which would be 184.12, and I'd be targeting it back down into the point of control, which is 160.65. If they can break down into 160.65, add long, and then target back up into here where it left this liquidity behind. Now on the daily, we do have a pin bar. Okay, so does it touch this 200 SMA? I don't think so, but man, that would have been a great spot to target. Should have been right there. So if the market would have continued going up, this really had some momentum because once it touched this 200 SMA and broke through, you could really get some Momo up to 271.93. So keep this in mind, right? We like to see strongs that have relative strength when the market's weak, and those are the perfect names to long. Now, when there's a divergence between, you know, something having relative strength and the market looking pretty weak, um, it's lagging, and you might be able to get a good entry for a short. So if I were to short this right now, I would go short at current price, and then my stop loss would be 205. So I'd be risking about, $7 per share, let's say, with my upside being um, 30 $37 a share. It's a good risk reward. Upstart's been a nightmare, but it is compressing. I did go long. I had some 30 calls for the 16th and some 40 calls for the 16th as well. So what I need to see is 25.10 needs to continue to hold, and then if that breaks down, then I need 22.42 to hold. All right. Now I'm down about 30%, and I keep going. The premiums on Upstart move a little odd, but um, if 25.10 breaks out, then I'm targeting 22.42, right, which is the 52-week low. Now, what I was looking for is this dark pool print came in at 32.30, and then prices just drowned after that. But we are back into the imbalance of this candle. So we tapped into this area of imbalance, and what I'd be looking for is 27.88 to get taken out, and then I'd be targeting 30.45, and then break back through this dark pool print into the point of control. All right. So above 33.06 is a really safe spot, right? So obviously I'm fighting theta. So if you wanted to wait for price to break back above here, you could target those 40 calls. But once we break above those, we're targeting the high of 37.67. And my original price target was this gap fill here. Okay. So this was a 77.13. I'd like to the risk there. And then if we can break above that, we got our 200 SMA traveling right behind, and then our upper value area at 128.61. I like this gap fill here, but I don't know if Upstart will ever get there again. If it does, then it needs to at least retake the 200 SMA. Veru resting at its upper value area high on the daily, which is 1624. What I'd like to see for continuation is 1708 get taken out, and then you targeting at least to $21 and then target this high. If you look at this chart, you know, nothing has screamed serious weakness yet. But we have this area of supply right here about 1587. If we lose 1587, you'll be targeting this gap fill down here at 1225. Octa is rejecting its daily point of control, which is the $100.83. If wanting to be bearish, I need 92.68 to get taken out, and then I would target 74.73. If bullish, I need it to be back above $100.83. If they can break back above that, then I'd be targeting 150.47, which is this area of supply here. So, you know, I would target this imbalance here. I would sell into supply, right? Wait to see what happens there. If price can consolidate and remain above it, then I would be targeting the next leg up at 195.73. The Lulu is resting right at its yearly point of control, pretty much. It's like $6 away. So 305.45. I need price to remain above 310.22. And if it breaks down to that, I need it to be above 305. Where could price be heading? If it loses 305.45, we'd be targeting 289.92, and then we'll be targeting these relative equal lows here, which is right around 282.23. If we lose that, we're targeting 269.18, right? But if it can remain above the 305.45, we'd be looking at 338.24 and then 394.71, okay, which would be this breakdown here. So Dutch Bros, any price to remain above 35.42. If it does, I will be targeting 47.84 into 59.52. All right. Now, this is worrisome here, these imbalances. So let's say it loses 35.42. Well, then I would be targeting 29.31, and I would look to see if 26.61 could hold. But if it couldn't, then I'd be targeting back down into this low. All right. Upside price targets right now 47.84, 59.52, and then you'd be looking to take out this high here that I had marked out at 72.59. So ABBV, what do I have going on here? So this is a breakdown, right? So it is resting at this area of supply here, 135.64. So let's just say this low, right? Because the volume does match up with that. 153.53, let's say. If it loses that, I'm targeting down here easily, 123.74, right? I'm going to target this imbalance, and then I'm going to go down into 116.79 to see if they can hold, see how strong these hands are, and then 108.46. Revlon went from $1 all the way up to almost 10. So what I'd be looking for this name, say it broke out, you know, retraced, consolidated, broke out again, and then it's retracing again. And it's actually at its largest volume pretty much outside of the point of control. It's wicked into it multiple times. So let's just put that level at 614. If 614 can continue to hold, then my bias would be to take out 752, 831, 998. If it can take out that 998, then we're on our way past 10. We'd be targeting up here at 1765. And that's just the way that it could go. Now, the volume has died off, and it's coming in small little increments. So this is a really risky play. I'm not in it, but those are just levels I'd keep in mind.